בשעה טובה. We are פסוק י"ד, פרק ד', פסוק י"ד. Just as a just 1 minute recap, in the last shiur, in the last psukim that we've learned, Shlomo HaMelech gives a few segulot of the ma'ala of the power of learning Torah, of acquiring Chokhmat Torah, which is basically that when you learn Torah, Torah guides you and protects you. And it allows you to, it's like a compass so that you can grow in your avodah and not lose track in the direction that you should continue taking in order to grow. And it protects you on your way from mistakes. And when you grow, you might grow too fast. And usually when somebody jumps and grows too fast and skips steps, he falls. When you have the Chokhmah Torah, you have the segula of the protection that even if you jump, obviously, if you jump not too high and you don't skip too many steps, right? Because then at that point, it's being somer on an S is like we rely on miracles. Akadosh Baruch Hu protects you and allows that growth to happen. The Chokhmat Torah allows that to happen. And another nekuda is that when you try to grow and to do some mitzvot that are beyond your capacity, if you have the Chokhmat Torah and the Yirat Shamayim, then HaKadosh Baruch Hu ensures that the players that will play a role in this mitzvah, in this endeavor that you're trying to do in order to grow, or that an endeavor that you're trying to do that's bigger than what you're capable of doing, are the people that can help you do that. The player, he sends you the people to that will be the right people to help you accomplish that task. So these are again benefits from the Chokhmah Torah, from learning Torah. And obviously the immediate benefit of learning Torah, says the Gaon, is that you're able to do mitzvot in a more accurate way, in a better way, and you do also ma'asim tovim. So it's not just the learning it doesn't stay static and just an information or knowledge, but it's translated into your actions as ma'asim tovim, good deeds, and a better accomplishment of the mitzvot. For that reason, Talmud Torah keneged kulam. This is why the Limud Torah is the most important part. That was yesterday's shiur, the last few psukim of this perek. Now Shlomo HaMelech addresses the surmera, the protection that one should have from negative influence and the reshaim and the raim. So we're Pasuk Yud Dalet. באורח רשעים אל תבוא. Do not go in the orach, the path of the wicked, of the Rasha. ואל תאשר דרך רעים, and do not step foot in the way of the Ra, of the evil. So we know that the Gaon in Perek Bet, Pasuk Yud Bet and Yud Gimel has already addressed the difference there is between Orach and Derech. Derech is a way, it's wide, it's big, accessible to Kulam, to everyone. Orach is narrow. It's not everybody can get in. It's also hidden. It's the little, the little streets that not everybody knows, and that you actually take when you're looking from something specific. You're looking for a specific house, you have a purpose to get into that road. If not, you don't get in. But the main way, right? The highway, everybody takes it. Everybody takes it. It's yeah. If you have Ocean Parkway, for example, Ocean Parkway, everybody takes it. Collins, everybody takes it. But if you start going in a little street on the side, the only reason why you would take that street is because you're looking for someone specific there, or for yeah. So says the Gaon, Be'orach reshaim al tavo. He says there is a difference between the Rasha and the Ra. The Rasha is the wicked, the Ra is the evil. He says the Rasha, who is the Rasha? He says he's the person that does actions that are asur ben adam lamakom. For example, says the Gaon, the Rishut, he brings a Gemara. The Gemara in Baba Batra Kuf Samech says, Ruban begezel umiutan ve'arayot. Most people fail in gezel, stealing or taking a property that's not theirs in a direct or indirect way. That's gezel. Umiutan be'arayot, and the minority fail in transgression of adultery and to have intimate relationship with women that are asur. Says the Gaon, so the definition of the Ra, ze ben adam lachavero, is gezel. When you appropriate yourself, even though it shouldn't come to you, it doesn't belong to you, yeah, the property of somebody else. You're a gazlan, you steal. The Rasha is the one that does averot that are more hidden, that are more private, which are ben adam lamakom, right? When a person commits adultery, obviously there's a ben adam lachavero involved indirectly, but directly what he's doing an avera ben adam lamakom. The Torah says you should not have a intimate relationship with these types of women, and the person did. He transgressed Hashem's immediate commandment. So that's the difference between the Rasha and the Ra. So says Shlomo HaMelech, be'orach reshaim al tavo, do not go in the way of the Rasha, the path of the Rasha. He says because most people are not Reshaim. Most people do not fail to for this type of averot. So the only people that actually do that, they do it in a hidden way. It's a narrow path. Yeah, not everybody goes into this path. Not everybody takes these ways of Resha. So that's why Shlomo HaMelech uses the word orach. Ve'al te'asher b'derech ha'ra'im, and do not step foot in the way of the wicked, of the evil. Says the Gaon, if you have to be careful not to enter the path of the Rasha, kal vachomer, that you should not enter the way of the Ra. I mean, the way of the Ra, because it's clear and it's obvious to all that Gezel is asur, that you should not steal, you should not manipulate or lie in order to get something that doesn't belong to you. But not only you shouldn't walk in that way, says even worse, the alte asher, don't step foot. Meaning you have to protect yourself from Gezel, you have to protect yourself from Ben Adam Lachavero with much more humra, with much more discipline and rigor than for the Arayot. Because the Arayot, most people have a certain barrier of self-respect, of respect for, for others when it comes to that. But when it comes to Gezer, says the Gaon, everybody finds the rationale to explain why whatever he wants to take from the other really belongs to him. Now, the Talmid of the Gaon says that he heard from the Gaon that the reason why Shlomo HaMelech uses the word ve'al te'asher, right? And ve'al te'asher is not step foot, but the word al te'asher, he says, it comes from vayomer le'ah ashuri ki ishuruni banot vatikra et shemo asher. It's to praise. He says that the Gaon explained that one way to protect yourself from stepping foot in the path of Gezel, the way to protect is to make sure you do not look up and you do not praise the outcome of the path of Gezel. If you see people benefiting from it, don't say, wow, look, it's a great life. It's okay, he does it. So he didn't say the truth, or he was a little bit, he outsmarted the other guy. But at the end, he paid off. He won the building, or he sold this, or he got that, right? And look at the tzedakah that he gives now, and look. It says there's ways. It says the Gaon, if you look up or if you praise that derech, this is the gateway to step foot in the way of Gezel, and then you fall in what is called the Rov, Ruban Begezel, right, where most people end up failing and and losing their weight, losing their weight. And says the Gaon in the Kitvei Yad, he says, usually, where is that coming from? It's coming from the ta'ava. If you remember, we saw that there are two sources. You have the ta'ava and you have the ka'as, right? And the ta'ava is the desire. The desire is worse than the ka'as, because the Yetzer Hara uses the desire of something that's mutar to make you do something that's asur, right? So he's going to make you see how great the outcome of Gezel, or the Akifin of Gezel is, to get you to walk on that way and make you fail. So says the Gaon, you have to be very careful and mahmir. That's what Shlomo HaMelech says, in the way you protect yourself from Gezel, more than the way you protect yourself from Arayot, because Arayot has in itself a level of protection already. But that you have to protect yourself from Arayot, and you should not take any left turns. Yes, but it's more obvious to protect yourself from Arayot than it is to protect yourself from Gezel. This is why the focus of protection and the double down of effort should be focused on the Gezel. Good. So, okay. Next pasuk. Pasuk Tedvav. Pera'ehu. Avoid it. Al ta'avor bo. Do not cross it, pass by it. C'était, avoid it, go around it. C'était me'alav va'avor, right? Turn away from it, go around it, and va'avor, and pass by it, and continue your way. Here the Gaon says something nifla. Says Shlomo HaMelech is revealing to us the derech, the way to break a ta'ava. He says when a person has ta'ava, has a desire, you cannot right away tackle it and jump from one polar opposite to the other cold turkey overnight. Because if you do that, you're not going to be able to hold on for long, and then you're going to end up failing and going back to how you started. And how should you do it? You have to do לאט לאט, להתרחק מעט מעט, ממדרגה למדרגה. You go gradually from one side to the other. Yes, you're going to end up in the polar opposite side. Yes, we know that we have to go from one opposite to the other in order to go back to the center. That's what the Rambam teaches us, right? In Ilchot Deot, in Shmone Prakim Rambam. But the way to do it, says the Gaon, is not to be drastic and make rapid changes and drastic changes. You have to do it gradually, step by step, so that you can actually deal with it every step of the way and internalize the process. So this is how you're going to end up breaking your ta'ava. And he explains why. He says, because if you go step by step, by the time you get to the other side, in the opposite side, you've accomplished so much along the way that the starting point is no longer part of you. Yeah, a person started, let's say, I don't know, he has a certain ta'ava. Okay, he has a certain ta'ava. So he's breaking it slowly, 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 until and he goes from I don't know, from a ta'ava of I don't know, smoking. Yeah, let's say he has a ta'ava of smoking. Oh no, smoking you can't call turkey, but that's not a tava. That's a maharam. But any tava, the person I don't know, he has tava of eating. He's eating. He has too much desire of eating, so he has to slowly, slowly cut it, and eventually he's going to get to a point where he's barely eating once a meal, and then he's doing all these fasts. Yeah, but by the time you get to the opposite side, he does not relate anymore to the desire of eating. So it's going to be easier for him to now rebuild the need to eat to get to the middle ground and to a balance, to the shvila zav, like the Rambam calls it, right? But if he goes from having a big desire of eating to not eating at all, right? It's a question of time before he cracks and breaks and go back to eating, because the desire of eating is still in his system. He did not wash it off. It's like they call it the Turkish salami. Yeah, you slice, thin slices one after the other. By the end, it's a question of time before you get to the end of the salami. Yeah, that's how you take the Yetzer Hara, the ta'avot away. So he's saying this is what this pasuk is coming to tell us. In the beginning, Pera'ehu. Pera'ehu, we says, avoid it. When the ta'ava comes, how do you tackle it first? Avoid situation that awake the ta'ava. That's the first step. After that, al ta'avor. After that, don't pass through it. Meaning, if you cross a situation where it's awaking the ta'ava, don't react, don't engage. And then sete me'alav, and then turn away from it. Even when it's in front of you, right? Not only that you don't engage, but you turn away, you do the opposite. Va'avor, and then the next level is you walk past it and you don't even stop. So these are the 4 levels, the 4 dargot of avodah, the 4 steps to break a ta'ava. First, you avoid situations that trigger the desire. Then, when you're facing a situation, hold back, don't engage. Number 3, when you have you're in situations that can trigger the ta'ava, do an action against it, not just hold back, but do something against it. Walk away from it. And number 4, when you walk, when you're exposed to a trigger, yeah, focus on your path and walk by it, and don't even acknowledge the trigger. That is how you overcome midot that you want to change. Pasuk Tet Zayin. Ki lo yishnu im lo yare'u, and this is going back now to the Rasha and the Ra. כי לא ישנו אם לא יראו, they don't go for they cannot sleep until they do evil, until they do something bad. ונגזלה שנתם and their sleep is robbed. אם לא יכשילו, if they don't make someone fail, if they don't get someone to do a avera. Says the Gaon, it's כי לא ישנו אם לא יראו, כן? כי לא ישנו אם לא יראו, they cannot sleep unless they do evil. This is going back to the Ra'im, to the people that fall for Gezel. Somebody that's Ra, he doesn't have an issue to sleep. It's just that he's so busy with his wicked mind and torturous thought process on how he's going to outsmart the other guy and steal from him directly, indirectly, with white lies, black lies, gray lies, okay, what he's trying to acquire, that he doesn't sleep. And it's only once he has a plan and that he's, he's got what he wants, that he can rest and sleep. ונגזלה שנתם, that's regarding the Ra. ונגזלה שנתם, this goes back to the Rasha. It says the Rasha is who? The one that has the ta'ava, the one that needs to fill in his desire, right? Ben Adam Lamakom. He says when a person is consumed by his desires of arayot, there's no way he can go sleep until he satisfies his Yetzer Hara. So his sleep is stolen, is taken away from him until he actually sins. So these two, the Ra and the Rasha, both at night are consumed by their thoughts on how to implement their strategy, or consumed by their Yetzer Hara to satisfy their desire. But one thing is for sure, is that both of them do not have blessed and resting sleep. And when all this awakes, when does all that Yetzer awakes? At night. When the klipot, when the sitra achra is at its peak. Pasuk Yud Zayin. Ki lahamu lechem resha, because they eat the bread of the rasha, of the wicked. Ve'yen hamasim yishtu, and they drink the wine of the Hamas, of the one that have no law, that are lawless. We know Vatimale Haaretz Hamas. Hamas is Gezel, Rashi says in the Torah. Right? So says the Gaon Mivilna, he says, Ki lahmu lechem resha, it goes back to the Rasha. to the men that have this desire of woman, okay, that consumes him. He says the avera becomes to the person that has this desire, the sin becomes like bread. The bread is what satisfies the body, and if a person doesn't eat, right, he cannot go to sleep. If he doesn't have a proper meal, yeah, he loses sleep over it. He says the rasha, the one that gives in to his desires, and here and which are ben adam lamakom, desires that make him sin, commandments that Hashem gave him, which are done in a hidden way, right? And he's focusing on the arayot, says the Gaon. This person cannot be satisfied until he actually sins. And after that, he can sleep perfectly. Once a person eats the bread, when he has satisfied his body, right? He's okay. If you recall, it's like what the Gaon says, that the ta'ava is worse than the ka'as, right? In Perek Bet Pasuk Yud Bet, because the ta'ava, at the end, the Yetzer Hara, like we said, the Yetzer Hara knows how to get you. Or the ka'as, you know what you're dealing with, yeah. Gazlan, you know that you're stealing from the person. You cannot play around, right? The gezel is when you find ways to outsmart in wicked ways, okay, in order to get something that's not yours. Barur, that you know what you're doing. It's pashut. So it's clear in front of you that it's haram. But the ta'ava, it always starts from something that's mutar, and slowly, the Yetzer Hara sucks the person into its nets and makes him do averot lo alenu that are asurot legamre. It's like the Ramban in Parashat Nitzavim, Leman Rave Tzatzemeah. The Ramban writes there that in the beginning, a person, gives in to his desires on things that are mutar. When it comes to intimacy, and he doesn't refrain himself. Every time there's a desire, he has to be with his wife. In the beginning, it starts with his wife muteret, ends up with his wife asura. He ends up doing it with an animal. The Ramban Meforash. This is the trajectory that a person takes when he's not in control of his desires. That's the rasha. That's the rasha. So to the rasha, yes, what feeds his body and his nefesh, it's the sin. And until he doesn't satisfy his body, he is like a man that hasn't eaten, that is fasting, that loses strength, that is nervous, and that can lose his sleep. V'yayin hamasim yishtu, and they drink wine of the lawless people, the Hamas. This is talking about the Ra'im, the Anashim Ra'im, the bad people, the evil people, the people that steal, okay, directly, indirectly, properly, improperly, people that do bad to others. Yeah, because they don't care about the other person, right? They're willing, they have no issues hurting someone else, as long as they feel like they end up on the positive side and benefiting. So for them, the ra that they're doing is not like bread, but it's like wine. Wine, whether you drink it or you don't drink it, you can go to sleep. It's not like if you didn't have bread, yeah. But if you have wine, you drink better, you sleep better. The same thing is with the evil. The evil people, they build strategies and ways on how to take away from somebody else what belongs to them. And it's only once they have this strategy in place and they implement it that at the end they can sleep and they feel comfortable. I was successful. I got what I wanted. And he says the lechem is the ta'ava. How we know that the lechem is the ta'ava? What does it say about Yosef HaTzadik when he is in the house of Potiphar? He says, Ki ima lechem asher hu ochel. Yeah, the Potiphar gave Yosef HaTzadik the keys of his kingdom. He gave him everything except for what? For the bread that he was eating. What is the Torah referring to? Eshet Potiphar is the wife of Potiphar. Right? So lechem refers to the ta'ava, right? The intimacy, the isur of intimacy. Yayin, we know that nichnas yayin yoseh sod, right? And en adam nivchan ela b'kiso ka'aso v'koso, right? How do you bring out the worst of a person? If you want to know how bad the person is, try him bekiso, try him with his pocket, try him with koso, try him with the wine, and with ka'aso and his anger. That's the connection between ka'as and yayin. So the yayin refers to the ra, to the person that is bad. Yes, again, and this is referring also to the gezel. That's the kiso, kiso. Right. So there is a common denominator between the kos, the kis, and the kas. The shoresh of gezel, the root of gezel is kas, is anger. You cannot tolerate seeing someone else owning something that you want. And I say you probably only want it because the other person has it. If he didn't have it, you would not want it. So it's not like that there's a ta'ava, a desire like for a woman or something like that, that motivates you to go and get the building or get an asset or something. No, you only have it because the other person has it. And it bothers you to see somebody else have it. That is the root of the gezel, it's the ka'as. And it's compared to the yayin because the yayin brings out that secret, that hidden trait in a person, and it's about kiso, and it's about his pocket. So comes Shlomo HaMelech and tell us that you have to be extra vigilant and overprotective when it comes to your wine and to your pocket and to your anger, meaning to the gezel. And you have to obviously also never step foot, never go in the way of the rasha, of the ta'avot, of intimacy of women, even though it is more obvious than gezel, right? Never step foot and always be protected from it, right? Because it consumes a person completely. I think we're gonna stop here. Any questions?
Yes. You said that Tavot, they start mutar.
Yes.
In Gezer too. It's kosher, the business, and suddenly.
No, that's already no. Gezel, Gezel. You might rationalize that it's okay, but at the end, it's not okay. The Gezel, yes, you're talking about Ava Gezel, is when it's not clear if it's Gezel. Yes.
Yes.
But you can still, it's like Ava Lashon Hara and Ava Gezel. There are two things that people fail no matter what. Okay. But the actual Gezel itself, what is the definition of Gezel? Is when your mind, that's what the Gaon says, is when your mind is busy at night thinking, how am I getting this asset from that guy? Now, we're not talking about a legitimate acquisition. We're talking about someone seeing someone else owning something, a car, a house, a building, a business, and you're bothered by it, and you're like, wow, I need to get it. I need to get it. And your brain starts blossoming strategy, ideas on how to take it away from the person. This is Gezel. This is the definition of the process of Gezel in one's mind. When a person is consumed by the fire of ta'ava, when the person cannot stand still, he doesn't have yeshuva da'at, he needs the action to be at rest. And the person has to know that right now he's not accomplishing a mitzvah with his wife. Right now it's pure ta'ava. Now, yes, it's mutar. One of the benefits that is that in an intimate relationship with a wife is what? Is that you appease the Yetzer Hara, you appease the ta'ava. But it is not, it's at the end, it's still called ta'ava. It's not proper. And this is if a person doesn't know how to retain himself and hold off his ta'ava and always gives in his ta'ava, says the Ramban in Parashat Nitzavim. It's a question of time before the person, okay, will be so consumed by his ta'ava that he's going to go see elsewhere, and then elsewhere is elsewhere, and then elsewhere is elsewhere, until he can end up with an animal. Now, how crazy does it sound? We have a recording of big people that failed with animals, right? The philosopher, we know the famous story of the philosopher of Alexander Mogdon, right? That he was having he was having intercourse with a horse, and when his students came to him and said, "So right now I'm not your teacher. Right now I'm an animal." Yes. So Be'ezrat Hashem, okay, we just finished Pasuk Yud Zayin. Any more questions? Be'ezrat Hashem.
Beautiful. Amazing.
Baruch Hashem. Tov.
So.